Wow, so not a very useful conversation. Is that everyone? Have we been through everyone? I doubt it was Sir Gregory or Mortimer. Sir Gregory was actually taking care of her, and Mortimer has, well, I guess it's his home, so I guess if he did want to kill her, it's too obvious to be him.
Monsieur Johann van Volner.
Oh, we can go in his room now. Weird.
The signs of obscurantism.
Oh, look, and the Golden Order signs up there as well.
The Sorrows of Young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever obedient servant.
So, Volner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult.
Golden elixir. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
I don't know.
The alchemist is a young man. The signs of the zodiac. The alchemist
Amber. What can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find the bastard who did that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes! I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now.
I feel like this is a good opportunity to find out what his immunities are, so we're going to use this. And it doesn't tell us. Okay. Okay, I thought he'd be at least immune to one of these, but apparently not.
Please, tell me a little more about the nature of your relationship.
That is a personal matter, monsieur.
Yes, that is true. So, tell me.
All right. It was passion. That's why we couldn't stay together. It scared her.
You loved her, didn't you?
That is none of your damn business.
Your feelings betray you, sir.
So what? Yes. I loved her, like a moth loves the flame of a candle. That's why we could never be together.
We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
Okay, so I think it's pretty safe to say we can rule him out because he was in love with her. Unless, I guess technically, if she rejected him... I guess technically he was talking about how they couldn't be together, so that means he could have... I guess realistically we can't rule many of them out, but I don't think it's him. I don't think it was Piaggi, I don't think it was Holmes or Mortimer. I don't think it was Napoleon. Whose room is this? Oh, is this going to be... Yeah. So we're back where we started. Is there anyone we haven't spoken to? So it could be the mum. It's not him. So the only realistic suspects at the moment is
President
the
George
mum
Washington.
and Peru. I don't think we have enough evidence though. Have we searched his room? I don't think we could earlier.
Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal
No.
Piaggi.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have a look downstairs and see if we can find anything. They said they were playing cards downstairs, so I guess we'll go have a look there. What's that? I swear I saw something.
A drachma.
See if we can find the, okay. Okay, I guess we can't go downstairs. So we're not looking at that.
Monsieur Napoléon Bonaparte. Monsieur Jacques Peru.
Okay, if we can't go down here, that's kind of it, I think. Yeah. Okay, I think we've done all the investigating we can. It's time to head back up. Okay, let's take one last look in her room.
Pistol?
It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and I'd conclude that...
So
Right.
so that's his gun. I don't know
I just
why
want
we
to
can't
find-
pick that up. Wasn't there a box down here we could open?
A chest with that.
Right, let's unlock this.
An untutored hand copied these notes. Looks like a healing method. Well, that's a pity. The writing is barely legible.
We'll take the notes for later. Okay, I want to double check the knife.
The blade is short and thin. Well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand.
Okay, well that seemingly small bit of information makes quite a big difference because it implies that the knife was held by a woman, not Peru, whose hands would, I would imagine, be a lot larger than a woman's. So the only suspect that it could have been is my mother. But I don't think it is, because my mother, from what we know, has spent the last few years, well, what she calls torture, but I would imagine, from the sounds of it, they were trying to get some kind of demon out of her, which, you know, for the voices in her head. So unless she just decided, actually, I'm going to kill her now. But my mother didn't come here for her. That's the thing. My mother came here for Mortimer and then disappeared. So I don't really think it's her. It could be, but a small and slender hand, and the person I think who has the smallest and the most slender hand is herself. So we know she drank loads of alcohol, and that drives you to go mad. And when we saw her, she'd already very clearly had some. I think it's entirely possible that she killed herself. I think that makes more sense than my mother breaking in and, you know, doing it. Because if my mother was going to kill her, why would she draw all of that pentagram stuff on the floor unless it was a sacrifice? But my mother believes in... Oh, I guess she does believe in the occult. I don't think she'd waste her time, though. She's on the run. I think she just took too much alcohol. But that doesn't make sense either. I'm unsure.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Piaggi was with Holm and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
The only person who doesn't have an alibi is Peru. But he can't have used the knife. His hands are too big. And he didn't use his gun because it's not been fired. Why his gun is in the room, I don't know. I have clues but prefer not to accuse anyone. Well, I guess
I believe
that's the only
I've
option.
identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
Well, it has to be one of the female guests. She died because of stab wounds where she bled to death after she'd consumed a lot of alcohol. On the flip side of it, a male must have pushed her against the wall. Unless she flung herself against the wall after she'd gone crazy. Well, a female definitely used the knife. It could have been the sister. We haven't seen her. Although she was shot in the chest right at the start, so she's dead, I would imagine. I think it was suicide. I think she used the knife. She used all the alcohol. She got really drunk. And then, you know, Louis said that if you drink too much of it, it can make you go mad. I think she had all these voices in her head. She was mentally unwell, and then she took all this alcohol and it made her go a little bit mad, as they said the alcohol would. And so she ended up drawing all this occult stuff, having a fit. I think she killed herself. I don't think any of the suspects did it. The only person it would make sense is one of these two people. We haven't been able to identify her, and my mother was in the room at some point, but I don't think it's her style to stab her 9 times.
I believe it was suicide.
Suicide? Louis, I hope you have solid evidence.
Okay, well, she was self-harming, but is that enough evidence to suggest she committed suicide? The handprint of a woman, and she took drugs. I think the handprint of a woman is probably the biggest clue, but that only narrows it down to female suspects. Self-harming, as Louis said when we examined the arms, he very clearly said that it wasn't intended to be fatal, those wounds. So, the handprint of a woman, I guess?
The knife found beside Elizabeth's body had a handprint on it, a slender hand. Without a doubt, the hand of a woman.
And Elizabeth is the only female guest? Come, Louis. Anything else?
She overdid the laudanum and the wine, probably to take away her anxiety. She could have decided she couldn't go on and acted while she was not her normal self.
Sounds a bit far-fetched to me, but it isn't without logic. Anything else?
So I wonder if we hadn't done all of the investigating and we'd skipped over some stuff, would these options be available?
She was covered in scars from previous acts of scarification. That proves that she was prone to harming herself. Her suicide was the culmination of this.
What you say makes sense, but it's a little weak. Haven't you anything else?
Well, there's no dialogue options here, so no.
It is my conviction that she killed herself.
So she stabbed herself 9 times? Really? That's very hard to believe, Louis. Louis,
Well,
I'm
when you
afraid
say it
this
like
is
that.
simply not sufficient. This is a serious accusation. I need concrete evidence. That is why I am taking over this case as of now. Right. It's time we spoke about your mother.
Great.
Louis.
I'm not... So we messed up then. Or we didn't get enough evidence. Oh well, moving on. She isn't missing, she's in hiding, she does it often. I don't want to say any of these.
When I first came here, I wasn't that worried. What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me.
Well, he's already said why he helped the lieutenant.
Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I am sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
The armistice between the Russians and the Turks. Russia's come out of it having officially won Crimea, which gives it direct access to the Black Sea.
And, at the same time, the Mediterranean Sea. I'm worried about the decisions Tsarina Catherine might decide to take. She's a woman who managed to get rid of her husband to accede to the upper reaches of power. Gaining access to the Mediterranean Sea remains her main objective. When she still had that dear Potemkin as her lover, I could always find out about her intentions, but those days are over.
Catherine the Great was quite an interesting historical figure.
You're speaking of Grigory Alexandrovich Potemkin?
The very man. The little devil behind the mother of all Russians. Since his death, I know absolutely nothing of what the Tsarina is up to.
Oh, really?
Ah, yes. I didn't mean to shock you. Please forgive me. Let's just say that, in my position, it is often advantageous to know about the habits and customs of world leaders.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the Third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Unfortunately, my lord, the Crusades are not my chosen field.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to learn. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation. until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you. The room is just opposite Mortimer's study.
So, not really sure if we got the investigation right, but it looks like now we've been sent to investigate where my mother went on her alone time, which by the sounds of it is a storage room. So I think that's a good place to leave it off for today. So I'd just like to say, thank you everyone for watching. If you're enjoying the series, then make sure to let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you next time.